just a theoretical sort of like approach to first reward placements, which is just where the dog expects rewards to come from. But then more importantly with the evolution, once rewards are out of the picture, it's where do they expect to express their energy within certain situations or contexts. And in heel position, I was talking with Debbie yesterday, she had a student that came from pretty far away to work with her. And he had taken in a lot of information, wasn't able to rectify this situation he was having with a dog that was 40. So she had him leading up to a trial simply create an expectation of reward coming from, say here, the armpit, which is online with teaching a dog the correct heel placement, position, both head and body. And so he did that for time leading up to him going into the ring, and he competed really well. He was able to make the progress that he wasn't able to make before based on a simple reward placement thing. She shared that story with you last time. That's the idea. Like, they care where this stuff comes from. We're playing with them. We're building value to these rewards. So where they show up, come to life, matters and can influence behavior. Ultimately, we like for the dog to understand their job so well that despite where those things are, they have a commitment to and a perfection in their behavior. So we'll go on with proofing things later on, juggling toys while the dog heals, whatever. But in the beginning, we can use these things to leverage it. There are a few reward placements that. Does he like toy a lot? Oh, great. We have a few reward placements we're just going to cover for your consideration. For those of you that are agility folks, you may shy away from the blind cross that we're going to teach. Totally cool. Up there. We use it a lot. It's something that you can choose to take, accept, consider, or not. So the first one we'll cover is a back alley reward placement, and it means having the toy in your right hand and teaching the dog to shoot behind your back to grab. Called a back alley. You could choose to toss, which the toy still goes behind your back and lands to the outside, or the dog can step back and shoot behind your back to go. So we'll start like this. You got food on you right away? Yeah, cool. So leave them in a sit. And her dog's got a sit stay. Brilliant. No problem. You're going to purposely set yourself up foraging on your dog. So you will be here. And then you're going to put food in your right hand and turn, let him see it, and then you're going to release it to it. And this is a direct, right now, we'll just teach it as a direct terminal mark, meaning yes or click, whatever releases them. Leave them in a sit. Perfect, stand right there. Put your right hand back, and then turn over your right shoulder. Yep, yeah, can you do this?
Oh, yeah.
And then, but keep your hand here.
Okay.
And so when he's attentive to that, let him release it.
Get it.
Cool, perfect. And she can say get it for that. Yeah. Throw a piece of food on the floor. Keep going. Throw another piece of food. Make it better. Yes. Just chuck a piece of food. Chuck a piece of food.
Get it.
Oh. You want to sit? Set yourself up in a foraged heel position again. Right?
Sit.
Sit.
Get it.
Perfect.
Yes.
You're beautiful. That was better. Your job is to approximate yourself slowly back into your correct heel position.
Sit.
He's cool. Yeah, he's really cool.
Get it.
And he broke his sit, so it's okay. Just keep it on.
Get it.
Cool. All right. Put him to sit. Here's something that you can consider at this point. You could put a different cue on it if you wanted. You could call it rear, behind. Give it a different word. So this is where I go with it anyway. In the beginning, if you do it, some dogs are like, I shouldn't lead because that's not the word that permits me to lead. Right now, he's seen the picture 3 or 4 times, so you could change now and give it a word that when he's actually in heel, you go, behind, you shoot back to do this, if you want, if you so choose.
Yeah.
So right now, let's just change the word up, but same picture, and that's gonna, when you say behind, encourage him with the hand. What do you want? Rear, you say rear.
Behind.
Perfect. Easy. Chuck a piece of food.
Get
Just
it.
because that's all one event. Side note, even if I'm throwing food for myself, that's still yes. Yes, toss food. If food is already planted and the dog is looking at me, it's given. For me, yeah. For you, manja. For you, okay. For you, whatever you want.
So every time he hits this, I toss or not?
I just want you to do that because I don't want you to just keep them going.
All right. Get it.
Beautiful.
Yes.
And that could be the rear, like you're behind.
All right. Sit.
All right. So he's already anticipating this, which gives us permission to bring this closer to heel now. So set yourself actually up in heel. Move 3 inches forward while he stays. Beautiful. Now I want you to hold competitive posture, but I want you to go rear and then make it happen. So word first and then you show the hand.
Behind.
Behind. Set him up again.
Sit.
This time I want you to use the word first and then I want you to break posture. So do like this. Behind.
Behind.
He's not ready for it. It's cool. It just tells us where he's at. So we're going to keep them closer together or actually just lead with the body language.
No. Behind. What am I doing wrong?
You're not offset yourself. Yeah, offset yourself.
Behind.
Perfect. Good, easy.
So why again do you want the dog to go to that side? It's just a different,
Incompatible with foraging.
okay, so this would be something you use if your dog is a forager.
You could consider using it. Yeah. Just submit it for your consideration.
If your dog is lighting.
Behind. I was testing, shouldn't I?
Yeah. It's better if he doesn't fail, but it's all right. You're cool. You're doing it. They learn it pretty quickly. So here's what I'll say on this. We're going to move on to another one, but I think you guys get this, and I think you can see how to make the pieces happen. Here's what's cool about it. For dogs that, when you put toy in your right hand and they heel, and what it does is it creates, like sometimes they can see the toy across your body. So you pretty much throw that in their face and you say, guess what, I want you to feel differently about that. And if you got a dog that's healing already and you're trying to introduce this in healing without practicing from static, it's going to mess with your healing position. So what I'll just put them in a sit. Once they know that, purposely have toy in my right hand and just go behind if I want to, the rear. And then they start shooting back and staying back. You can expedite this a bit by making a back arch, which is a strong visual cue. So if you go behind like this, they're going to go, aha, that's the invite, the back arch. However, if you keep the back arch in place, you'll find during healing that your dog's eyes will start to wander because they're going to start gathering information visually about when that's going to come. So it's best if the body does not do any telling eventually when this is complete, and the word does it all. So you're just healing, and you go behind, and they shoot behind. Boom. And sit if you stop, bam. Just something to consider for your consideration. All right.
So tell me how you do that with a small dog.
Well, I would probably, if you're comfortable getting low, and I don't know if you teach hand targeting or what focal point you teach with your small dogs, but I do a lot of hand work with it. But I would just teach them the same thing. I would put them in a sit, and I'd be like, hey, buddy, come back here and get it.
Healing.
Oh, it would just be the same. Before I added it to healing, they would know that when I say behind, they should shoot back. And that would be captured from static position. And then slow entry into movement.
You ever get to throw a toy?
You could absolutely throw toys, all this stuff. All right, left out. Call it the left out. It's a different reward placement. I'm going to walk you guys through what's called a clockwork game really quickly. It's something that you can play with bigger dogs. With smaller dogs, it's absolutely can still be played, for sure. Just the left hand doesn't seem to have, well, it still has influence. Usually the small dogs you can consider. Put him in a down or sit or something stationary. Cool, come down this way. And he can hold it. All right. This is a game that starts coming top from the front, and then it works, the handler works their way to the side. It's borrowed from agility folks, so if you played like anti-flick games or circle work with your dogs, you're throwing things off and they can still stay in position, and you're going to be in a good place. With this, you probably have proofing steps. So you and I, let's say I'm your dog. I need to sit stay first, so I've got solid sit stay. You can walk a circle around me. I don't fall for any of that stuff, and I don't shift my weight, try to follow you. All these things are prerequisites. Okay? Your dog can hold a sit stay, be stable, and you can do a circle. You can move around them. Rewards can be there, and they don't shift and track. Step one. Once you've got that in place, you've got permission to start the clockwork game. You start in front. I'm your dog right now. All right. You're like, okay. So you can have food in both hands, and you can purposely bring them up to your face, and then you can extend them out to the side. And so you can do that right now. And then maybe I'm distracted by it. I still hold my sit stay because that's been cool. And so that, yeah, she got it, yeah. She's one of them sniper trainers, so it's like this. I'm looking, and then she can pay me. right? It's a simple focus grouping game. It's really easy stuff. So here's where it goes from. In the front still, while I'm learning to find the face and ignore the hands, she starts to proof this behavior by adding movement to the hands. So again, start from the same position. You bring your hands out, you extend them out. By this time, I'm not falling for that. Start moving your hands. And then always terminal. Always terminal. Yeah, so if I was working on you, yay! And I might invite you out of position because that might be a little bit better than being fed in place. It doesn't matter. What is important though is that you terminate the behavior. So you have to use not your duration marker. You could use indirect. Don't confuse it. Let's just keep it easy. Direct, but you have to release the dog. So their expectation is that they move from focus on the face. When you click, they are released from that, and then they can track the hand or receive the food. Otherwise, because this is a focus game, it's a bit of a violation. If you were to say, when they look at the hands, if they find the face and you say good, and you feed them, if your good is duration, you keep going. Well, they're actually not good because now they're not looking at your face anymore, they're eating food out of it. Now this sort of flies in the face of the strength and the clarity we want in these words. So it's a focus game, so you have to terminate, release them from it. So if Linda's here and she brings the food up here and she extends out, and she makes her arms move. If I look at the arms, don't stop. This is just a handler suggestion. Don't stop movement. Keep it going. Because the dog will get bored with it. They'll look back in the face, and the whole purpose is to mark and reward while the hands are moving. Yeah, and if you were moving your hands and they looked at the hands, you stopped, and then they look back in the face, you moved them, and then they looked at them and stopped. They're just making that happen. It's confusing. So you want to get them past that. All right, so let's walk through this again. He say good and go back and reward him, please.
Does that interfere with directed jumping?
I think it's really different stuff. Yeah, no, I think it's really different. All right, and then you can come back over and we'll look at the, you can put him in a sit again. Right out, and I'll be your dog again. Just walk through this. We'll just move through this quickly. So, from the front, we don't want to spend too much time here. She can extend her arms out. She can do all sorts of crazy stuff. Move her hands around. I don't fall for any of it. I'm like, here, boom, boom. She can pick. Awesome. Then she's going to approximate herself one step closer to heel. So this is where it becomes a clock. If she was in like 12 o'clock, she's now in 2:30, say. And she's going to do, but I'm still expected to be this way, right? So now she's moving her hands. I'm looking at her face. Click, and she can still feed. Yeah, and then after the click, I can express myself. I work, blah, 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 whatever. She can feed me. He can after the click. Sure. After the click, anything is permitted, what you want. And then the next step is for her to move one step closer. So now she's in like 4:30. Cool. At the third and fourth positions on the clockwork game, I will start feeding exclusively from the left hand. So in the front, it doesn't matter. I might click and might feed right. Click, feed left. Click, feed center. Click, toss a piece of food. It doesn't matter. But when it gets to the third and then the fourth positions here, I want the dog to expect food out of the left hand, which is going to be back here. This might be particularly useful for those of you that heel with your arms down. We'll talk about its application in broken leg too. Because here he's going to know that the best way to earn this food in my hand is to look at the face. Now I've transferred focal point to the side of my face, if you want that, right? Up here, whatever. And you can lean a little bit to look, you can help. And then when he focuses, I go click, and then my reward placement is above the head. But my hand comes in from behind and even to the outside a little bit. And the reason he'll be successful here is because I proved him, hopefully, with great strength to not fall for the hands. There's no advantage to checking out the hands here in the front. And so the closer I get to heel, the more solid he is. He knows to look at the face. Now I'm transferring it to the side. You use a mirror, you can look down, it's pretty easy. But when I do click, there's still, in the back of his head, or maybe even with one half of his brain, he's thinking about the reward coming in with the left hand. And what this really does is draws their head up quite high and straight because they want to meet the food as it comes in. This is like play with a lot of young dogs. And so he's expecting to track that reward a little bit as it comes in. It's different if I was holding here, he might be here. The head position might be across. If it's here, he's going to go. quite high and straight with it, and it's click and pay in place. Good. I can do it again, and you would click and you would pay in place. It's weird.
So for AKC though, where your hand couldn't be out that far, and it
Right.
have to be either here or
It's
here.
just a muscle memory game right now.
Okay.
And it also is negating the influence of your hands. So what you're doing is you're saying, despite what my hands are doing right now, and eventually you'll get them in, but we'll kind of like talk about a piece that you can put in place. Eventually we bring them in, or you just do all sorts of things, but the dog stays the course because they realize it's through here is the best thing. So it's anti-distraction work for the dog. For those of us that are doing like that can heal naturally, there is an advantage that we don't have to add any more steps, aside from just start pitching toys to the outside. Start bringing the hand in overhead to feed. To start, as we're healing, ball in the right hand to make it land over there so the dog peels off to get it. That's the beauty, that's kind of like, that's the end of the training pieces for those of us that heal it a little bit more naturally with it and allow us to maintain head position. Once, though, you proof the dog to the side of the face, the focal point here, and they're not falling for the hands, then you, if you're doing broken wing style or AKC, and this is how you want to hold your hand, or like this, you can add other pieces in. So you could consider, if you weren't against it, that when you do go broken wing, that you've also taught a back alley release. So now they're looking here, but the hand is not valuable here. It's the right hand, it's the back alley, so they're shooting back. So head position stays high and they're shooting back forward. You approximate small pieces like you bring the hand here, they're still looking here, you still click and bring it in if over time it doesn't cause the dog's head to drop, so that they still will leave the hand alone. You could do a scoop technique, or like a hoop technique, where it's here, you teach the dog to jump through the hoop and target a hand. So now what's kind of like nice, and this has been around, right? So what's kind of nice about it is it's a clear physical cue, and it's a reference point too for proper position. So you're healing, and you're like, hoop, hoop it up, man, whatever you want to say to me. Hoop, hoop, hoop. Your dog's like pounding their head through here. It's not here, it's not here, it's not here. And all you're doing is creating an opportunity, a little hole for them to jump through. So you're healing, and you're like, hey, hoop, and they're going boing, boing, boing. And at some point you click, you can feed through there. But it's just like we're talking a dog targeting an unbaited palm. If you just teach them in the beginning, when you open up and you feed them through there, pretty soon you remove the helps and they learn the behavior itself is to shove their head through a hole. The basketball going up the other.
What do you do with the little dog?
Well, that's where it's a disadvantage for little dogs. For you can't hoop them, but you can't hand touch.
Okay.
So you could go touch, 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 bring your hand in place. Sylvia Bishop up a little bit.
Isn't that encouraging them to drop back in order to do that?
Oh my gosh. Yes.
my God, thank you.
Yes.
What was the question?
She was saying like if you're yeah. Well, it's still fun. Like what if you're hooping as you're moving forward? Now they've got to stay up, stay
Oh,
moving.
okay.
So that's a great supplement. She was asking if you're hooping the dogs, do they have to drop back to get it? And I was like, please, a little bit. That's kind of like for those of us that have pushy dogs, it might be kind of a nice thing. But you can adjust your hoop here, even if you want to. So the mission position. And then there's like a scoop to you to do. So you can teach her that when you click, you're going to be here. Or if you click, you're going to come back. These are reward placement. Even though the hand is here, when I click, you have to jump back to me. That makes sense. Right? Losing somebody, but I expect to because it's after now. So what I like about a hoop is it becomes a bridge behavior. While it's a reward placement at the beginning, it becomes a bridge behavior. And it's something that you can use without paying it every time, which is one of the other themes that we're talking about, is creating little things that work and maintain value attached to behaviors, keep your dog up, that allow you also to remove yourself from primary support, from food and toys. And so this can stand alone. A hoop can stand alone without paying it every time. It can become kind of a fun thing. Cool, makes sense? Exclusively for, I have anybody that I do healing work with that's in AKC too, I have them do this, but exclusively for folks that heal, like if you're in IPO ring sports, or any of the other ones that allow for this more natural left arm movement here, you can have toys in your left hand. This just to go through the proofing process of the clockwork game, and then by the time you get here, just teach the dog to stay focused as you make this transition move. You can even play with the right leg coming out a little bit, and it's click. And you can toss the toy, so the dog turns to meet it. You can pitch it on the ground, so they peel off to get it. But any of those things are going to say, there's no sense in coming across, there's no sense in foraging. All of your energy should be supplied out. Preliminary stuff. Then you build spins. You build canvases. And later, those can take over or energy supplementation, or for energy supply, and also teaching your dog to stay in proper position while expressing themselves with enthusiasm. That's reward placement essentially. It is much more. Put the dog in a down, position changes, the dog position changes, and they release him behind. That's reward placement. Okay. Go for it.
Do you think you